Good afternoon. It is Thursday. This is week 1 of 5-day-a-week shows, and I gotta tell you, it has been something. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to With Beans, where you need to be with me, which means the second half of the show, where I pop that Zoom link down below. There are no chickens allowed in the audience. There are no chickens allowed. We are anti-human chickens on this podcast. So everybody had better get ready to join and have a conversation. If you guys are new to the show, the new show, it's news and information and health, and it's going to be consciousness and spirituality and all kinds of stuff, but the news doesn't stop. And so I've got it all melded together today in some kind of weird and interesting mix. Let's see who's in the chat with us today, though, first. Who do we have scrolling up in the Rumble chat? You can find this podcast on Rumble. You can find it on Getter. You can find it on X. Share it out with your friends. You can find it on iHeart. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Podcasts and more. We're working on more. If you want to check out all those links in one handy place, just go to linktree.com/withbeans. Linktree.com/withbeans. Also, I forgot what I was going to say. It'll be okay. Everything's going to be fine. Oh, yes. That's right. Also, sponsors for the show. If you want to support the show, the most important thing about the show to keep it going is sponsors. If you guys want to support the show, you can go to uncoverdc.com/support to support our little mission here. And people were asking yesterday for merch, and I think Gigi dropped the merch link because you guys wanted these beautifully designed coffee cups. I have another one. It says, coffee beans plus Uncover DC equals red pill. Because you can handle the truth, you see? This is what we do here. We sell coffee mugs and get chided and yelled at for it. We have the most amazing t-shirts too, in case you didn't know. Uncover DC t-shirts. And if you want to reach out and give us a little bit of give a show guest suggestion, you can use the email withbeans@gmail.com. withbeans@gmail.com. That's the email I have set up specifically for the show. Anyway, let's see who's in the chat now. Sharon's here, CJP is here, Ramsey is here. Ramsey. My husband is in the chat again today. My goodness, I'm blessed. Who else do we have here today? We have CJP. We have, you guys are chatty today. Robin's here. Roblin. Hi, Beans. Hi. Just Revere. We have so many people here. Jimbo, thank you so much. I'm glad you like the new format. That is so kind of you. Thank you. Very helpful. I'm glad you like the new format. Now, listen. I'm going to throw up a thing here. Language alert on today's show, okay? Language alert on the show today. If you have children who are below the age of, I don't know how you speak in your house, but in my house we were New Yorkers, so the curse words flew. But if you have children who are listening to the show, you might want to continue, consider the fact that there will be some language today. But I wanted to let you guys know that before I played so that you'd be able to handle it. This is funny. More for you people on video than on audio, but this is something that I saw coming across my feed that I wanted to share with you guys real quick. Here we go.
This is the last horseman. Who is this?
This is Flaming Dragon!
Oh, okay. Flaming Dragon. Fuckface. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face! Now, I don't know what kind of pan-Pacific bullshit power play you're trying to pull here, but Asia Jack is my territory. So whatever you're thinking, you better think again. Otherwise, I'm going to have to head down there, and I will rain down on a godly fucking firestorm upon you. You're going to have to call the fucking United Nations and get a fucking binding resolution to keep me from fucking destroying you. I am talking scorched earth, motherfucker. I will massacre you. I will fuck you up! Did you find out who that was? Yeah. Go.
So funny. It is so funny. Sorry, I had to do it. That's not the only language. I had a Cat Williams comedy clip where he was talking about illegal immigration, but I've been informed that this clip floating around as new is actually old. It's actually old. It's from 2011. So, Tropic Thunder brought back to life with the Elon stuff. Now, the title of the show today is The Great Awakening is Now. And it is. The Great Awakening is now. As a matter of fact, this exemplifies it. This is CNN. This is CNN.
I think these numbers are really illuminating on this topic because I just think there's such a clear trend among the American public. So transgender female athletes in women's sports, only 18% of the country says that they should be, in fact, allowed to participate in women's sports. Compare this to the opposition. I mean, my goodness gracious, 79%. You rarely get 79% of the country to agree on anything, but they do, in fact, agree on the idea of opposing transgender female athletes in women's sports. But it's not just the here and now, Laura. It's not just the here and now. What we're actually seeing is a trend on this particular issue, and it's going in the direction of opposition. So take a look here. Okay, transgendered female athletes, and amongst those Americans who oppose them in women's sports. Back in 2021, it was 62%. A majority, but, you know, not anywhere close to a ginormous majority, right? A clear majority, but not a ginormous majority. But then again, you look here in 2025, you see it at 79%. So it's not just that the majority of Americans are opposed to transgender female athletes in women's sports. It's that the opposition has become considerably larger in just the last 4 years.
It's not necessarily that the opposition has become larger. It's that people feel comfortable speaking out about their opposition to it. You see, for a long time, they had you convinced that you were a minority and that they always say it when we try to fix things. They say, oh, it's just such a small minority of people. Why are you focused on them? Well, for the same reason you keep trying to make them the majority. That's why. So people are emboldened to actually say we want to protect girls and women's spaces. We want to keep men out of the female locker room. We want to keep men fully clothed around women unless they choose to be around men without their clothes on. I think that that's fair. I don't want to go into a dressing room to try on underwear and a bra. And I always have hated the word panties, by the way. I think it's gross. I say underwear. Anyway. Panties. I hate it. Going into a female dressing room in like Victoria's Secret or something, trying on undergarments and having to have a man with some kind of weird fetish in this is just common sense. And there is a very, very serious conversation going on in the chat between my husband and CJP about the Mets signing Soto. Listen, it is a very big thing that happened today with the Mets. I'm happy about it. Everybody in Mets land is happy about it. I'm not going to blame Will because it's not him that's doing it. It's the others. It's the others that are goading him into sports talk. And continue, gentlemen, please, by all means. I am not going to get in the way of this monumental occasion over in the chat by any stretch. And I wouldn't have said anything, CJP, but CJP like kind of ribbed me like, oh, don't want to get you in trouble, Will. So, you know, that's just the perfect way to blame everything on you, CJP. Because I would never in a million years think of calling out my man. Sorry, not sorry. If he did something, do you ever see those like prank videos where the daughter calls the mom or the grandma and says, Mom, the cops are following me home. Say that you fell down and that, say you fell down and that you were rushing home. I've been rushing home to pretend you fell. And then the kid gets there with the phone and the parents laying out there in the middle of the lawn like, oh, I fell off the ladder. That would be me for my husband if he asked. So I'm just saying. So it's not that, back to the show, it's not that the support has increased all that much. It's that people are feeling like they can share their opinions without fear of scorn. And I just want to get into some of the like gremlin-like activity that's going on, and the fact that it really doesn't matter. And why does it not matter? Because no one's buying this crap anymore, and the Great Awakening is upon us. Straight up, you cannot put this back in the bottle. You can't. It's going to be a theme that is ongoing on the show, that you cannot put knowledge back in the bottle once it is on. It's not like you can go back to 2 weeks ago and pretend that none of this happened. But I also want to bring you a little bit of a different perspective on things too. Here, let us check out how this doesn't work anymore.
I do not have the same opportunity as you. I know I don't.
And you know
and
that
I know
too.
what, Scott.
And you know that.
Let me just tell you about me.
I'm gonna let you finish, but I want to answer this.
I'm not talking about how you feel. I'm talking about how I feel. Me, a black woman in this country.
But not in this city.
And I will run. And if you want,
I'm a New Yorker, not in this city. You cannot say that. You can't say that in this city. I'm
not talking about New York. I'm talking about actually
let her finish.
right here.
Let her finish.
I got a law degree, a master's, and 2 bachelors. Probably more education than all y'all added up together at this table,
Fine
right?
by me.
And I have always been the least paid person on payroll at every institution I have worked in.
How does she know? This is the thing. They just assume victimhood, which is like the worst thing ever, okay? The most educated woman at the table, or the most educated at the table, speaking like she's outside on the street somewhere yelling at her friends the same way Congress speaks, to be honest. I can't get over that. But we're going to talk about 2 different subsets of this right now. First of all, how does she know that she was the lowest paid employee anywhere she's ever worked? How does she know? Did she go around taking a survey of all the employees and finding out how much they made with her law degree and everything else? Like, why isn't she a lawyer? She wouldn't be making little money if she was a lawyer. Why aren't you a lawyer, lady? Why are you saying, or maybe she is a lawyer? I don't know. I have always made the least amount. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. I'm a big advocate of radical personal responsibility. It's a phrase that I've been using a lot for a while now. Radical personal responsibility. Take radical personal responsibility for everything in your life. Literally everything. Everything can be boiled back down to you. You can tell the story of how you're a victim for the rest of your life, of what happened yesterday and what happened the day before that. You have zero control over those things anymore. You can control how you feel right now, and I'm going to go out of order, but let's play the rest of this. Here we go.
And it's not
Even
because...
in the White House?
Even in the White House.
Well, whose fault is that? I don't think he worked for George W. or Trump.
Well, guess wasn't what happened when I was there. DEI. Scott.
Look.
I do not have the same...
I don't understand, like, the incredulousness of it all. Let's listen to Joe Dispenza for a second. I know some people are going to be like, oh, Joe Dispenza. Listen to this. It's true. Listen.
The act of closing your eyes and rehearsing what you're going to do begins to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like you already did it. Now the brain is no longer a record of the past. Now it's a map to the future. And if you keep installing that hardware, the hardware will become a software program, which means you'll just start acting like a happy person. Why? There's no magic there. You installed the circuitry. So that's more important than the news.
Right.
It's more important than answering any email or any text. It's more important than talking about your past or some dinner. If you can begin to just think about how you're going to do it differently, that's the building process neurologically already. So now you have to get conscious in order to do that. And it takes some time. It means you got to shut your cell phone off. You got to close your door. You got to take a break from everything out there and begin to practice.
I'm probably going to end up like with a catalog of Joe Dispenza on the show, because he comes at the idea that we shouldn't be perpetual victims because we and we alone are in control of ourselves and should take radical personal responsibility for everything we do, for our thoughts. You know, you don't give your power away to something else and say, oh, that is making me. Nothing makes you. Nothing makes you do anything. The only thing making this woman saying DEI at the White House, this woman right here, the only thing making this woman a victim is herself. She's the one who's doing this to herself. She's telling the story of how she's a victim instead of saying, I'm not a victim. I'm just as talented as the rest of these people. I'm going to keep working and follow my passion and do my thing. There is nothing holding this woman back but herself. Nothing. And it is a program in your brain, and it takes a little time to get solid. But it requires that we do what the show says. It requires that we focus on being informed, but not letting it direct and guide literally everything. I have another quote here that I came across kind of in the same vein. Again, jumping around out of order today, but fear is being afraid of something specific, a bear, a disease, whatever, that's fear. Anxiety is being afraid of the possibility of possibilities, the possibility of something happening. That's anxiety. Anxiety is fear of the future, fear of the unknown. You don't know. Going back to what happened yesterday with the person in the chat who very, very, aptly, I think, said, I'm really worried about somebody attacking these guys and hurting them, or somebody killing somebody and hurting them, or I'm worried about that. That is a thought that is born out of fear and then perpetuated by anxiety for something that didn't happen. It hasn't happened. And what you're doing when you're focusing on something that hasn't happened and worrying about it is powering that thought up. It has to go through you first. So you're stressing yourself out over something that didn't happen and probably won't happen. It's a lot of work that we need to do, and we're primed now to do it. I really do believe that. People are taking it back. And a lot of what I'm going to show you today is evidence of that. It's evidence of people that are taking it back. I have a, where do I want to go? Let's just try and get back on track here. I kind of went off the rails. I have a Vivek Ramaswamy clip. It's funny how he disappeared. I personally am not a fan of Vivek Ramaswamy. That's just me personally. I besmirch nobody who likes him. I'm not saying anything, but my personal vibe off of him is just not good. I don't like him, but what he says here is interesting.
When you hear about Politico getting paid by the Biden people $26 million, does that make sense?
Of course it doesn't make sense, and that's part of the point of why it's been so non-transparent, Jesse. The idea of foreign aid, in some sense, I don't think we should be using our taxpayer dollars even to help people in foreign countries when we should be helping our own citizens here at home first. But the irony is it's not even going to help starving children in Africa or poor people in other countries. That's just the smokescreen and the excuse to actually carry out a political agenda through the back door. I think it was shameful that we're finding about state-funded media here in the United States. But I think equally bad is the fact that we're using that USAID, that foreign aid industrial complex, to push progressive ideas, LGBTQIA plus agendas, woke and DEI agendas, onto foreign countries that cause people in those other countries to actually hate the United States for values that most Americans don't even share. In some ways, it's the financial cost that's bad, but that's the least of it. It's actually the other effects of that illicit foreign aid that's hurting the United States even geopolitically in other ways. I'm glad it's coming to an end. We've had 4 years to complain about this. Now we've had 2 weeks, soon 3 and 4 weeks to actually fix the problem. That's why the people sent Donald Trump in, not for incremental change, Jesse, but for sweeping change. And that's what he's delivering.
It's true. He's definitely delivering sweeping change. And the way he's doing that, surprisingly enough, is literally just information sharing. He's going it. They could audit it all and not tell anyone. They're dumping it all. Radical transparency, radical personal responsibility. A zero-based budget audit of the federal government. This is only one department. This is only one sliver. Wait till they get to the health sector. Wait till they get to Social Security. Wait till they get to the military. There is this going on all over the place. And I saw a tweet come by today that said basically like, I think that since I feel pain thinking about paying my income taxes, I feel pain thinking about paying my income taxes this year because the money is being used for such nefarious things that I don't agree with at all. Completely unaccountable bureaucracy run amok that we now know about and you can't put back in the bottle. I don't want to pay them this year. I think we should have a year off. And I think by the time the end of March gets here, they will have recouped enough money out of the stopped payment on enough of this nonsense and crazy to Politico and the New York Times and everyone else that we can take a whole full year, if not more, abolish it all, abolish the IRS, abolish it all. Don't even get me started on taxation. We need a year off, at least a year. Imagine 2023, you don't have to file, you don't have to pay. Do they give you interest on the money they owe you? No, they don't, do they? No. So that's that. And here Elon posts, oh, look, it's an insurrection. The radical left put a lot of innocent people in prison for this behavior.
As you probably...
They're here at USAID. The fact that they're so crazy about this.
As you probably saw, Elon Musk and his crew put a gag order on AID employees. They disconnected them from email, which is putting lives at risk around the world. So we are here to enter the building.
Lives at risk. Look at these people. Look at how pathetic. Look at them. They're more worried. You know what, Gigi? You know what I got to do? Unfortunately for everybody, I got to do some live looking here because I got to play it. Gigi's long lost daughter. Not really her long lost daughter, but she thinks that she might want to adopt her. This another language alert here, another language alert. But I gotta play this from yesterday. Chance you might have seen it. Hold on. Of course, the show is going along today because why not? Why not? Nothing else going on. Where is she? He tweeted her yesterday. She's here somewhere. I think I might be better off looking for my replies because I replied to it. She says it like exactly what everybody wants to say. She says exactly what everybody wants to say. And it's with some language, but it's worth listening to. And we're going to listen to it. Here it is. I found it.
And waiting.
I gotta fix the sound on this because it wasn't ready. There we go. All right, are we all ready? I'm sorry about that. I apologize. Here we go.
Keep waiting and waiting and waiting for Democrats to start fucking redeeming themselves. And every single time I turn around, they make it fucking worse. Just 100%, no turnabout rate, nothing. It is just going downhill for the Democrats, dude. Can you please tell me, if someone, right, robbed a fucking bank, okay, let's talk about a hypothetical before we get into the real shit real quick. If someone robbed a bank, someone watched the security footage, saw who robbed the bank, told you who robbed the bank, you caught who robbed the bank, are you gonna be mad at the person that robbed the fucking bank or the person that told you were being robbed? Okay, that's what's going on with Elon Musk right now. For those of you that don't understand, okay, Elon Musk was hired for the Department of Government Efficiency. What does the Department of Government Efficiency do? What is its main number one goal? To make sure that our government is running efficiently, dumbasses. And here you are, literally trying to shoot the fucking messenger because he is showing you that a lot of our money is being wasted on shit that is not needed. What type of fucking transgender opera do you need overseas? What type of all of these DEI inclusivity programs do you fucking need to be spending our money on overseas? And instead of being mad at the people that are stealing our fucking money and spending it 100% irresponsibly, you're mad at the man who told you you were being ripped the fuck off. You are a fucking cult member. Plain and simple. There is no saving for you, okay? Every single time you guys continue to peddle these lies, you are screaming more and more that you're a cult member. And the more and more you do it, the more and more the moderate Democrats are going to fucking leave you. Keep going. Keep fucking going. Show your utter stupidity. It's what you've been doing for 4 years. Keep it up. The rest of us are happy that we found out what we already knew, that we were being robbed. It must be shocking for you to deal with facts, but they're gonna keep coming out. Our government has wasted billions upon billions upon billions of fucking dollars for shit that is not important to American citizens. And you're mad at Elon Musk and not at your fucking representatives? What are you, fucking retarded? You have to be.
Listen, I told you there was language, but this is 90% of America right now. As a matter of fact, it is so 90% of America that we have this. This guy I'm about to show you now, he says this. He says, not only was I a Biden voter, not only did I donate money to Biden's campaign, I also starred in Biden's America the Beautiful victory video after he won. I was a very loyal voter for 15 years, and they've enraged me to the point I never thought possible. The Democratic Party has betrayed every single one of their principles, and I'm truly disgusted I supported them as much as I did. Here we go. Here we go.
This fucking political party, the Democratic Party, have lied to us about everything. They've lied about being the party of the middle class. They've lied about being the party of peace. They've lied about being the party that wants to help poor people. Okay? What the last several weeks have proven to us all is that this is a cadre of criminals and losers and spoiled children of affluent parents who were more concerned about looking good than actually doing good. These are people who were more concerned about looking like they were doing something for the American people than actually doing things for the American people. And that's why I'm so angry. Because this party lied to me while stealing my tax dollars. The Democratic Party lied to us all while they brought in millions of illegal immigrants for their own political purposes for the last 4 years. 20 to 30 million illegal aliens brought in, and now we come to USAID being probably the largest money laundering operation in American history. Congratulations, Dems. You've outdone even Bernie Madoff. I'm disgusted beyond words. Disgusted with the waste of money. Disgusted with the waste, with the fraud. With the way that you people use color legitimacy, and the way you use black people as fucking mules to get us to push whatever fucking agenda you wanted to. The amount of division you used black people to sow upon the American people, you used us for that. And I will never, ever forgive this political party. The shit that I've gone through personally. Y'all were supposed to be the party of free speech, the party of women's rights. You have immolated all of those things. And then, as if enough weren't enough, you then decide that you're going to die on the hill of USAID, a government audit. You're trying to prevent a government audit because some of you really are trying to stay out of prison. We see the game now. Y'all been out here telling us that the game was rigged against certain people. Well, now we found out who the people that were rigging the game were. Congratulations. Y'all are never going to win another political race ever again. Not if I can help it.
Listen, it really is the left that's screaming about this. It really is the left that's screaming about this. But like I said, everybody who yesterday, we won. And there's more to do. I'm not saying we're done, but we have reached critical mass. Do not be surprised when Republicans are brought into this also. It doesn't matter. The rug needs to be pulled. The truth needs to get out. The censorship is... They can't keep up with the news cycle. The only place people are going for news right now is X. Guess who owns it? The guy that brought somewhat free speech back to the platform. At least I can speak now. Who sees it is a different story. But at least I can speak there now. And the writhing around is so telling. It's so telling. And it's coming from one place. And people are just finished. Whether they're waking up today in the Great Awakening or they'll wake up tomorrow in the Great Awakening, it doesn't matter. It's happening. We've reached a critical mass. Enough people are talking about it that they're peppering this out. They're sitting and sprinkling, or they're standing at the supermarket and sprinkling. It's all out there now. And I need to play for you Mike Johnson from this morning, because it's really, really something. The whole, oh, it's illegal. Oh, impeach. It's illegal. We can't do this. You can't do this.
Well, good morning. It's great to see everyone. An overflow crowd. It's as if there's a lot of news happening or something. I don't know. I want to start this morning by addressing a few things we've heard this week from our Democrat colleagues. It's been pretty surprising. Here's a few quotes. Shut down the city. We are at war. We're going to fight it in the streets, it was said. This is what the beginning of a dictatorship looks like. This is their reaction to the flurry of activity that's come out of the new administration, and the president is doing exactly what he said on the campaign trail that he is going to do, would do, and he's delivering on that, and we're a big part of that, and we're going to do it as well. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party truly is seemingly lost. They have no rudder, they have no vision, they have no clear leader. The only message they have is anti-President Trump, and we've all seen that that's a failed strategy time after time. And it's not just rhetoric. I mean, this week, Democratic leadership sent a letter to their members that you all saw, that the media characterized as a war plan to take on President Trump. In the letter, the Democrats laid out the foundation for a government shutdown. That's their plan, to stop President Trump. And the question we're all asking is, why do they want to stop him? Is it because President Trump is working to bring more oversight to USAID for its mismanaged spending? Is it because he's using the threat of tariffs to negotiate with trade partners and secure our borders? Is it because DOJ is looking at contracts and helping to carry out President Trump's promises of making government more efficient? By laying the foundation for a shutdown in the way that they are, the Democrats are changing their tune on government shutdowns. Remember, they're the ones that are apoplectic all the time about the terrible harm that it would exact on the country. But because President Trump is doing exactly what he said he would do, they've changed their tune. And I think you all should be asking them about that change.
Yeah, the ones who pay you, ask them about that. Does anybody care if the Democrats shut the government down while we sort this mess out? Does anybody care, is my question. Does anyone really care?
Got to challenge the premise of the question, Chad. You know me. I'm a fierce advocate and defender of Article 1. I mean, look, we are the legislative branch. There's a reason the Founding Fathers put the Congress, the legislative branch, as the first article in the Constitution, and we're going to vigorously defend that. But what's happening right now, I think there's a gross overreaction in the media to what is happening. The executive branch of government in our system has the right to evaluate how executive branch agencies are operating and to ensure that not only the intent of Congress in funding mechanisms, but also the stewardship of precious American taxpayer dollars is being handled well. That's what they're doing by putting a pause on some of these agencies and by evaluating them, by doing these internal audits. That is a long overdue, much welcome development. That's what the American people demand and deserve. And that's what's happening. So we don't see this as a threat to Article 1 at all. We see this as an active, engaged, committed executive branch authority doing what the executive branch should do. They have broad discretion in all the funding, as you all know, because you follow this. When Congress funds an agency, they give broad discretion to the executive branch on how it's administered. They're using that authority right now in a way it hasn't been used in a long time, so it looks radical. It's not. I call it stewardship. I think they're doing right by the American taxpayer, and we support that principle. When it comes to the point of codification and legislation and all the rest, we'll be evaluating all those things. But right now, I think they're acting within the scope of their authority. There's be legal challenges. The courts will have some things to say about this. But as so far as I'm concerned, Chad, this is not a usurpation of authority in any way. It's not a power grab. I think they're doing what we've all expected and hoped and asked that they would do. For years, members of the legislative branch in Congress, Senate and House, have asked for details. They've asked for, the expenses of USAID. I mean, look, this is what was uncovered. 3 just quick examples. I mean, you tell me if this is unreasonable. Some of the stuff that the money was being spent on that we didn't even know. Crazy examples that came out. Look, $100 million on initiatives like expanding atheism in Nepal. That's what American taxpayers should be paying for? No way. Transgender operas in Colombia, drag shows in Ecuador? No way. The American people want us to, we have a $36 trillion federal debt. It is a serious threat to the future and security of our nation. We got to spend money better. And if this executive branch and this White House is going to take the initiative to dig in and find those details and expose them, we applaud it. We're all on board. Thanks so much.
Yep. I agree. I mean, seriously. Like, how could you be against this? The only way you're against this is if you're anti-American. Elizabeth Warren is seemingly anti-American. Elon Musk and Donald Trump are trying to drive a wrecking ball through our government. These people who will pay, the people who will pay a real price are the hardworking families who are just trying to make it to the end of the month. Justine Bateman says, please be more specific on the source of your outrage. I can't think of one hardworking American who doesn't want to know where their tax dollars are going and whether or not they're being just dumped into ambiguous initiatives while they themselves are financially hurting. Amen, Justine. 100%. And this is just one more funny reaction to all the chaos. It's something. I love this lady. She's funny. Here.
Impeach Donald Trump and see what the hell happened. Impeach Donald Trump and see what the hell happened. Al Green, you better sit your crunchy, dusty wig looking ass beard down somewhere in the shut the up section. Do it. I want you to try to motherfucking do it.
She's got the shoe. Can't mess with the shoe. Okay? And one last thing before I drop this link in the chat for everybody today. The Doge discoveries are not just about wasted taxpayer funds. The real story, the 5-alarm fire, is that USAID was literally funding an entirely handcrafted pseudo-reality, not just in America, but all over the world. You were robbed to fund global psychological operations, buying off media outlets, pushing advertiser boycotts against X and Rumble as they attempted to decrease censorship to get this information out to people. That's narrative control. Pushing war propaganda, funding opposition groups in foreign lands to foment revolutions, funding lawfare against the former president of the United States and his supporters, and on and on and on and on. People get caught up in the $100K to study cocaine impact on Chihuahua stories. That's not the headline here. The headline here is the U.S. government robbed you blind in an effort to control your mind. That's about as big as it gets. And this, my friends, is where we're at right now in this movie. This is where people are. People who have not been awake for the past 10, 5, 7 years are here in this movie right now. just realizing that the wall, the ocean, the vast ocean they thought was the world, it's actually not even real. It's not even real. And we're just about here. We just opened up that door, for the most part, as a group, as a critical mass. I actually have Ramsey, who's joined me today. Let's see. Bring him on in. See if we can get this going. Here he is. Hey there. Can't hear you. Can you say something? You're on screen.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Glad to have you. What's going on?
Not too much. You know, a lot of what you're saying really hits home for me. Like wanted to share, we were a group of us got together to pray last night, and you know, the folks that were there, many of them were really reeling, based on just how much has happened, how quickly, how fast things are changing. And, they're really impacted by sort of the human impact of people that they know, and, refugees and migrants and things like that. Even the ones that are coming through, perfectly legal kinds of processes. So it's really, it just really struck home for me that we can want some of the same things in terms of human dignity and justice, but we just have really different ideas about why and how that looks like. And, it's just how much is really coming at people all at once.
Certain people, right? What legal folks are being removed?
Well, so in this particular example, it's like organizations that work with legal refugees who are coming over to help them and support them, but their funding has been frozen, the federal funds to their agencies, along with all of the other funding, because a lot of things have just been frozen, in sort of a wide range, but not that it's going to stay like removed forever. It's just that it's been frozen temporarily. So there's a lot of fear and anxiety and confusion around what's going to happen next.
And what are folks doing? Like, what are the people that run these organizations doing? Are they all solely funded by government monies?
No, they have other sources of funding. In fact, there's a really beautiful story of how, they've lost some of their federal funding, but they're getting donations coming in from individuals and churches and other groups, which in many ways is, really great and wonderful, and how it, perhaps it really ought to be. But, it's a matter of having difficulties because of what people are kind of used to and accustomed to.
And so it's basically rapid change, that's causing the feelings of fear and anxiety, even though, okay, I can equate this in some way to myself, okay? And I'm going to do it. A couple years ago, I was banned from most payment processors that I use to accept money for my business. Overnight, gone, right? I could have freaked out and been in fear and anxiety about it, but I didn't. I found another solution to heal the woe or to fix the problem. Like, it was either, okay, be scared and freaking out and woe is me and victim, or figure out a way around this. And I think that for a long time, people have been very used to being taken care of by others, fully taken care of by others. And while I have sympathy for the feeling when you have a spigot of money flowing in to help people that are coming here legally, and all of a sudden it's just gone, private charity should have been the way this happened the entire time. And I even have a very jaded view of whether that's true or not, given what we see of all these organizations. So what are some of the things that these folks are doing to help the people who are refugees, let's just say, from whatever country coming over here? What do they do?
Well, they help to find housing. They help to find jobs. They help to, gather things like, furniture and dishes and things that they can just use in basic life. They help them to understand how to go to the grocery store and shop and things like that. So,
do they help them figure out how to navigate the immigration system to become legal citizens at all?
Well, they are already in the legal immigration system because they're already coming through the legal immigration channels. These are not illegals that I'm referring to.
Yeah, no, but like once you get a visa, there's steps you still have to take. Do any of these organizations do that, or they're just placement and like support organizations? I'm not judging anything when I'm asking this stuff. I'm just gathering information for myself so I can form an opinion. That's all.
I do think so. I think so. I don't have 100% knowledge of that, but I think that they do help them work through all the systems and process that they need to go through with their citizenship, because that's kind of the whole point of, they have been working through that program and now they've just arrived and now they're helping them with the steps that they need to make it through that system.
So I know you somewhat. How did you counsel them?
Well, what we did was we prayed together. And, so in the situation, the session last night, what we were praying for was praying against fear and praying for hope and love, and for God to open people's eyes and for God to bring justice. And I think maybe the people in the room had different ideas about what that looked like, but we were all kind of working together, in terms of intentions.
You can't go about that any other way. Like at the core of all of what you were doing was love, right? So, I mean, regardless of what your perspective is on the situation, that's what's at the basis of everything, in my opinion. Truthfully, is people just want to be free and they want love. I have a clip, Ramsey, that I'm going to play, and I think you'll be able to hear it. That is actually fits right into what you're saying. It's the other side of this that people aren't thinking of. Before you judge anything, I'm going to ask everybody out there, do not judge when you listen to this. Do not judge the person. Do not judge the background noise. Do not judge anything. Listen to the situation this person finds themselves in, and then I would love feedback about this from you since you're here. And that would be great. Here we go. Hold on.
So I'm a USAID employee.
Oh, I have it on 2x because I was trying to listen to it fast. Hold on. Okay. Here we go.
So I'm a USAID employee, federal civil servant, direct hire. I have never been as fucked with, psychologically played with, as I have been in the past week and a half. It's been a fucking week and a half. I'm on admin leave. I got on admin leave yesterday. The only way I knew about that and I figured that out was because I just literally didn't have email access. Like around noon, my email I couldn't access it. I tried on my laptop. I was on my work phone. Tried on my laptop. Can't get into nothing. Had to email the HCTM office to see from my personal email, like, hey, what's going on? I shouldn't have to do that. Like, you put me on admin leave, somebody should let me know. But I know it's not them. It's obviously the powers that be that's doing that. This is crazy. This is crazy. I've been in the agency for 10 years. 10 years. And it's one thing to, like, lay people off. You got a reduction in force, whatever, for whatever reason. But to do it like this is so undignified. It's so undignified. You know what I'm saying? Like, people have families and kids. Like, people look at the federal government like it's all these bureaucrats and we walking around in suits all day and making policies on the Hill. Like, I got paper blinds, bro. I got paper behinds. Y'all hear my kids hollering. They're eating mac and cheese that I heated up in the microwave, the Kraft one, okay? Like, we are regular people. I'm a regular person. And even admin leave, I don't even know if we even going to be paid. Nobody has said nothing. I don't have a paper in my hand to tell me nothing. What happens to my health insurance? What happens to my health insurance? Am I getting my last check? Am I getting my leave paid out? At this point, that's all I care about. Y'all let me go already? Well, we're basically go. Let's be frank about it.
So, I don't know this woman. I don't know what she does. She's clearly got her kids at home with her. So who knows how much work was going on. I know how hard it is to work with my kids home, and they're older. But the point is, there are a lot of people in her position that have just gotten everything cut. There's no information for them. They're kind of wandering around out there like, do I have health insurance anymore? Do I have a paycheck coming to me? Like, where am I going next? You can look at that from one of two ways. Too bad, so sad, this needs to happen, which I agree with. Or I feel bad for her because she's kind of probably pretty stressed out about where the hell her life is right now.
Yeah. And I think too that we can hold both of those things at the same time, and we should try to do that. You know, if you believe that that it is necessary to shut down even some of those programs, we still need to remember and understand that these are just regular people. Like I think the vast majority of people are just good people who are trying to do their best. And, you know, I know some federal employees, I know people who work for governments at different levels, you know, they're not setting out to do anything bad or wrong. They're doing the best that they can within the circumstances and within their jobs, and they're providing services and they're helping people. And yeah, like this is what they have committed to doing. This is what they're doing. They're doing it with good intentions. And we can have arguments and discussions about, you know, whether those efforts are efficient or whether they're effective or whether it's money that's really well spent. You know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I think there's a lot of people who are, you know, doing their best, and we need to have sympathy for people who are doing that. And, you know, we don't want to become the, you know, heartless individuals and that are, you know, taking out the machete to remove stuff. We need to, at the same time, you know, maintain folks' humanity on both sides.
So I can do both of these things together at the same time. I can feel bad for her because she's in a bad predicament, and also say it's gonna hurt for a little while while we fix this. And it has to happen. We cannot continue. The only reason that she had a job is because we were spending tax dollars in a way that did not serve us at all. Like, our money was going to programs that did not serve us at all, and served, seriously, the destruction of pretty much everything. They like, USAID was a behemoth that nobody really completely understood. So while I feel bad for her in her position, it never should have gotten to where it is now. I think it's important that we do what I said in the beginning of the show, is teach people radical personal responsibility. Like, okay, lady, now you're faced with a problem, okay? You've got kids at home, you've got paper blinds, and you're feeding them mac and cheese out of a box. I've been there. I totally get it. It's time to fix this stuff now. Stand up, dust off that resume. You know, there's tons of people that need employees right now. We know that's for certain. Get out there and find yourself another job that's not government dependent. Like, the government workforce is way too big. It's way too big. And I can have compassion for her and also say, I'm so sorry, but we have to do this if we're going to have a future. Literally. What do you think?
I hear you, and I tend to agree. And, you know, things have sort of the government infrastructure and bureaucracy has just gotten so big, and it hasn't had a downsizing in so long. But then it also gets back around to trust. You know, people on both sides of the political spectrum don't trust the other, and with good reasons. And so now that we have this whiplash with the Trump administration in power, the folks who are getting impacted by this, they don't have trust that Trump is going to do any of the right things and, do it in a fair, meaningful way. But we'll just have to see how it plays out and how it happens. And that gets back to that notion of having hope that things will come out better on the other side.
Yeah, it's a rough spot when you have, like the gentleman I played before that was in the Democrat Party said, they've weaponized us against each other, and they've done it very successfully for a very, very long time. And it's time for us to take initiative to heal that, right? Learn, gather information, form your perspectives around that, and that'll form your perspective of the world. You can have a negative view of the world if you want to. It's not going to make you feel very good. Or you can take this and figure out why it's happening for the good of us and take that perspective. The choice is yours. You have that choice every second to choose which way you want to go with it. So I will say a prayer for those folks who are trying to help people coming in here to live and kind of acclimate themselves, and that they're funded by charity, which is exactly how it should be done, honestly. You choose to come here, but that doesn't mean that we have to pay for you to, it's an unsustainable system this way. It just is not sustainable. So private citizens who wish to help, please help these organizations and help these people that are coming here for a better life, but they won't have a better life here if this continues. So it's like such a wheel, a catch-22, but I will send so many good thoughts to those folks out there. And I'm so glad that you did that yesterday.
Yeah, no, it was really nice. It was really beautiful. And thanks, Tracy, for letting me on. This is an issue that's been kind of on my heart. I wrote a little thing about it called In This Moment, which I'd put out on my podcast. So if anybody wants to sort of hear that.
Plug your show for people.
Yeah, my podcast is called What's Worthwhile, and it's on sort of all the different platforms. You can also find it at what'sworthwhile.net. But, it's asking that question of what is important, what should we focus on, and what, how do we navigate all of these complexities? And, so I put up a little 8-minute sort of thought essay called In This Moment a week or two ago, and encourage people to check that out.
Fantastic. That's so awesome. Thanks, Ramsey, for being here today.
Yeah, totally.
It. I'm actually, oh, wow. I'm right at time. You're good. You're real good. Move you into the lobby for now and say goodbye to everybody. Hold on. There we go. Oop. Oop. All right. So that's a different perspective that a lot of people aren't thinking about. And I know a lot of you out there just like don't care. But it is something just to muddle around with. Like, mom here, do I have health insurance for my kids? Is she going to go on unemployment? That's a whole nother, there's so many different things that we're not necessarily getting into the weeds on because it doesn't affect us directly. And that's fine too. I don't know. Sometimes I'm empathetic, but like we said just a minute ago, there's no path forward the way things are going. This has to happen. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt us at some point. Regular, everyday people going out and doing their jobs all day long. So if you guys like the show, please hit a thumbs up, share it out with your friends, get it on out there to everybody. Thank you to the man with the cojones to join the show today in the Zoom lobby, making With Beans, actually With Beans. You can find us on all the audio platforms as well. And, it's pretty crazy. It really is. It's something to think about. But we will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, guys, the show will be live at 2 p.m. With Frank. Frank will be joining the show tomorrow, so make sure you guys check that out. And